Okay, guys, now let's take a look at this example. I provided this example for you. We want to calculate or evaluate this double integral in polar form, f of r and theta dA on r. Here, f of r and theta is cosine theta, okay? And the boundary region r is this, you can see, just like the previous example on previous file. So you can see here theta from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2, and r is from cardioid, it means 1 minus cosine theta, to the circle r2 equals 1. Okay, so let's solve it. So here we have integral, okay, this one is for theta from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2, and this is for r from 1 minus cosine theta to 1. Okay, what is our f if you remember here? F is cosine theta. So f is cosine theta, cosine theta. Okay, what is dA in polar form? R dr d theta. Okay, so first we have to integrate with respect to r, okay, then with respect to theta. Okay, since we want to calculate, okay, with respect to how to say r first, right? This cosine for this integral, look at here the first integral, here the first integral with respect to r. So this theta is just like constant. Okay, so this equals, let's continue here, this equals so integral from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2. Okay, look at here, the integral of cosine r with respect to r, cosine is a constant, so the integral of r is r squared divided by 2. So we have like this actually, cosine theta is just like constant, so integral of r with respect to r is r squared divided by 2. Okay, let me little bit make some space. So we have r squared divided by 2. R is from 1 minus cosine theta to 1, and this one d theta. Okay, and this equals, okay, this equals okay, actually we can put this one inside the bracket like this. Okay, this equals, okay, look at here, because we have here 1/2 times 1 over 2, so I can write, okay, I can write integral from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2. Okay, I can say cosine theta 1/2 cosine theta. Okay, and here, look at here, this 1/2 moves here, this 1/2, 1/2 moves here. You can see cosine theta. The value of this term when r equals, okay, the value of r squared when r equals 1, which is 1 minus, when r is 1 minus cosine theta, so this becomes 1 minus cosine theta squared. Okay, d theta. Okay, so when r is 1 minus when r is 1 minus cosine theta. Okay, we have to move up here because the space is not enough, so I have to erase here. Okay, let's continue the calculation. Okay, now we have to solve this integral, right? Okay, for simplicity, let me calculate this term separately here. Okay, let's calculate this term separately here, then we put in the integral, then we calculate the integral. Okay. 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 So cosine theta okay, let's move here. So we have cosine theta times 1 minus, okay, this one 1 minus cosine theta squared is 1 okay, 1 minus 2 cosine theta plus cosine theta squared, okay, and this equals okay, cosine theta times 1 minus 1, you can see here 1 minus 1 plus 2 cosine theta minus, you can see here, minus cosine square theta, like this. And this 1 minus 1 is 1 minus 1 is 0, right? 1 minus 1 is 0, so this equals, this times this, we have 2 cosine, we have 2 cosine squared theta minus, this time this, we have cosine to the power of 3 theta, cosine to the power of 3 theta. So now we have to put this one here, and then we calculate the integral. Okay, after calculation, this term equals 2 cosine square minus cosine to the power of 3. Okay, just now we calculate, this equals this. Now we have to calculate this integral. and for calculation better we separate the integrals. Okay, we separate the integrals. So since the space is not enough here, let me move it up here. I do it here. Okay, now you can see here we separate the integrals. So 1/2 times the integral of 2 cosine squared d theta minus the integral of cosine to the power of 3 theta d theta. Now we have to calculate each integral separately. Okay, now let's calculate each integral separately. So starting with this one. So the integral of 2 cosine squared d theta equals, we are going to apply some formula for trigonometric functions. So this equals minus pi over 2 to pi over 2. Okay, you know that, okay, this one is 2 times cosine squared theta equals 1 plus cosine 2 theta divided by 2. Okay, we have to use this formula so that we can calculate the integral d theta. Okay, now this 2 by 2 simplified, so we have integral from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2 1 plus cosine 2 theta d theta. Okay, if we can continue here, so look at here, the integral of 1 is theta plus the integral of cosine 2 theta if we use substitution, if we take 2 theta to be u, if we use substitution, integral of cosine 2 theta is 1/2 sine 2 theta. From minus pi over 2 okay, so from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2. Now we have to calculate this. Actually, I made a mistake here. This one must be 2 theta. Okay, please correct this. This must be 2 theta. Okay, so theta plus 1/2 sine 2 theta. So now this is easy to calculate. I give you the answer quickly. So the answer will be pi over 2 when theta is pi over 2 and sine pi 0 minus, okay, when theta is minus pi over 2 plus when theta is minus pi over 2 minus 2 pi sine minus pi is 0. So the answer is, okay, pi over 2 plus pi over 2 pi.